Hey everybody, it's me Stacy here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. Hey everybody, can you believe it's already February? I can't believe we whipped right through January. Holy smokes, artichokes. But hello everybody. I'm Stacy. This is In the Studio with Stacy, and these classes are where we take beautiful fine art products, amazing paper crafting products. We put them together, we stir them up, and we make magic happen. I do an In the Studio with Stacy class every Wednesday, not Tuesdays anymore, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. sunny California time, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you're joining us during the premiere, say hey, or hello, or who you are, where you're from, because we have a live chat going on right now, like right now. Now, In the Studio with Stacy classes are a unique style of class. It is a full month series of classes, so each month it is on a different type of product, but every Wednesday in that month we learn more and more about that product. The first class of the month is always a little bit more education about the product. And then the subsequent Wednesdays is more application and how to use them and why you would want to use them, and sometimes how not to use product. The educational part, I think, is so super important. So I'm a brand ambassador for Royal Talons, which is an amazing fine art company. I'm also a licensed designer for Jacquard, which is an amazing fine art company. And yet these two companies do things so differently. The products they bring to the market, the products that they have been manufacturing for years and years, are so different from each other. And this month I am featuring Jacquard. I've got a little bit of Royal Talons going on, but we are going to be playing with Jacquard Lumiere acrylic paints. They're amazing, and I was able to do something a little special just for SMS people. Yay, I was able to do something really special. So each Wednesday this month, I'm going to be playing with these Lumiere paints in different ways, all while talking to you about what makes them what they are, why they are, how they are, and the special nuances of them that separate them out from other types of mica paints, because it is an acrylic mica paint, but it's a special acrylic mica paint. So as I said, the first class of the month is always a little bit more education, and I try to swatch out some stuff for you and really give you all the behind information about products so that you know what you are buying and why you would want it and how you would use it. I love the Jacquard Lumiere. They're absolutely beautiful. And you're saying, but Stacy, acrylic paints, isn't that Amsterdam from Royal Talons? Yes, it is. And we carry Amsterdam from Royal Talons, which is a very high-end acrylic paint, just like Lumiere. But Lumiere is nothing like an Amsterdam, and Amsterdam is nothing like a Lumiere. Completely different. So today I get to walk you through some of that and show you all of that. I have probably 15 or 16 colors in front of me to swatch out. So normally I talk a little bit more and we go through class a little bit more, but I thought that I would tell you about product as we are swatching. So I'm eventually going to tilt down and start swatching, even though the educational aspect of the class is still going on. Now, Jacquard has been around since 1982. So they are a US-based company. They are manufacturing their products right here in sunny Southern California. Everything that comes from Jacquard is manufactured here in California. It's lovely to have them right up the street from us. I mean, they're like 9 hours away, but in the overall picture of things, they're right up the street from us. Jacquard started in fabric paint, high-end fabric paints and paints for silk painting and things of that nature. That's where they got their start way back in 1982, was fine art fabric paint or fine art silk paint. Now in the 90s, that's when Lumiere came to be. And Lumiere is a combination of a mica and an acrylic base, an acrylic binder, because that is what makes it an acrylic paint. It is the binder that holds everything together. That's what makes it an acrylic paint. If we took these same micas that you find in Lumiere paint and we changed the binder to gum arabic, you would have Pearl-Ex. Same exact micas. Now the cool thing about micas is that they are one of the highest light fast ratings there are. So light fast of 100 years or more. And so if you are doing something archival, well, you know that it's not going to fade over time. And that's what light fast means. If you were to paint something and then put it in your kitchen window and have the sun hit it every day, how long would it take for those colors to fade away? The higher the light fast rating is, the longer time it will take for color to fade. And with the mica, because these are a mica acrylic paint, the light fast is about as high as you can get. So 100 years or more. Now, I don't know if any of us are going to be looking to have something hanging around for 100 years or more, but imagine a fine artist who wants their work to hang around for 100 years, 200 years, 500 years. They need to use something that is light fast. And that is what makes these a fine art product. The way the binder is made, the acrylic emulsion that mixes with the mica, and it is secret sauce. I tried to get it out of Asher, but he would not give it up. I know a lot about Lumiere, but I do not know what's in the secret sauce of his acrylic emulsion binder. I have no idea. I just know that it's crystal clear. So Jacquard since 1982, Lumiere's since about 1990, and they are the highest graded mica acrylic paints there are. The highest reflection and the highest refraction beyond anything else. And you're saying, but Stacy, you had gold and silver and bronze and copper from Amsterdam. Yes, we did. And Lumiere has gold and silver and bronze and copper. But where Lumiere really amplifies and separates themselves from everybody else is all of the other colors. You can't get these colors with Amsterdam. You can't get these colors. I mean, they're just beautiful. And again, how the light reflects and refracts off what is the mica inside the acrylic binder is what separates these, because that acrylic binder is crystal clear. It is as clear as they can make it. So I'm going to continue to talk about all of this. I think I'm going to tilt down and I'm going to start to get things ready to swatch out. And that way we can be talking and I can be working at the same time, because I want you to see, and I'm going to be working on white paper today, just white cardstock, so you can see what it is we're going to put together and what to look forward to the rest of the month of February. It is pretty amazing. Now, will there be a time where I take Jacquard, Lumiere, and Amsterdam acrylics and put them together? Because Jacquard does not make standard acrylics. They don't. They don't just make a red or a blue or a yellow. They don't. They make specialty acrylics. So let's tilt on down. Let me get started, at least start putting out getting my swatching, getting ready, and I can be talking to you while we're doing this because I think it's important. All right, how does that look? All right, so I'm just gonna take and start getting my swatches ready. So Lumiere is derived from fabric paints and silk paints. We'll just make as many as I can, I guess, on a sheet. And have been around since about 1990. I said that the mica used is the same as Pearlex, and an acrylic binder is what makes it an acrylic paint. So the mica is absolutely ethically sourced, and most often the mica used is a synthetic mica. Now synthetic sometimes in our world sounds not good. Like synthetic, we don't want something synthetic. But in the fine art world, all synthetic means is that they have found a different alternative source than a mineral or a plant to create that color. And synthetics allow the color to be modified, and it allows it to really have intensity. They can control the intensity, and they can control how the light reflects and refracts off of it. So, well, see, now I need to look at you because I think this is important. So we're just going to end up going back and forth, I think. So when you think of mica, we think of mica like in Pearlex, where it's got blues and greens and golds and reds and, well, russets, not so reds, but we think of it as colors. Mica actually is colorless. No color at all. Think of mica like a prism, like you're holding a crystal clear prismatic piece of crystal. And as the light hits it in different waves, that's what shoots off the colors of the spectrum, the red, the blue, the yellow, the green, the purples. As that light hits that crystal clear spectrum or prism, that's what gives you the color, the rainbows that you're seeing. It's not that the crystal that you're holding is colored, it's transparent. It's how the light reflects and refracts off of that, and those light waves, how our eyes see light waves. Well, that's very similar to the mica that is used in Lumiere or Pearlex. The mica is actually crystal clear, but how it is coated and used will change how the wavelengths of light hit it and reflect back to us, which will change how we see color. It's so amazing. The education I have gotten has been so amazing. So if you've ever picked up a rock and that rock has got it's got like glitter to it, that's mica. The mica has no color. Depending on how the sun is hitting that will give you what color is going to come back to you. So there's actually no color in mica. It's crazy, right? So let's go down. And I think the thing, before I continue with this, I think what I want to show you is, I want to draw it out for you. I think that would be a good thing. Maybe I'll draw it out for you. So let me grab this really quickly. So Lumiere is the most reflective of all types of mica paints. It has the highest light fastness. It is really made to elevate and to amplify color. So it's made up, I guess the easiest way to do this is maybe made up of little platelets. If you can imagine, we've done it before where I've shown you gouache versus watercolor and how the pigments in gouache are bigger. So here's your drop of gouache. The pigments in gouache are bigger than the same drop of watercolor. The pigments are smaller. While it's still the same pigment, it is the size of the particles in each drop that will change. By having larger drops in gouache, it is more opaque. By having smaller particles of the pigment in watercolor, it is more transparent. So if we were doing that with our Lumiere, so let's just do a thick coat and a thin coat of Lumiere paint. And Lumiere paint, for Scrapbooking Made Simple, Lumiere paint's going to come in the little 1/2 mil and in the full size. Makes no difference. These are a great little, I want to try you and see if I love you, and these are, oh my gosh, I love you, I have to have you. But inside, you've got the mica, the Pearl-Ex mica, mixed with that beautiful crystal clear acrylic binder that has secret sauce that I'm not allowed to hear about. And people ask, well, should I put down a thick coat or a thin coat? And we tend to be a little heavier as a paper crafter. We just like to get it down there and be nice and thick and heavy, when in reality, a thin coat is going to be better. And you're like, but why? So the mica that's in here is made up of platelets. So imagine these being platelets. Now, if I put a thin coat down, all my platelets remain flat and are laying flat, which means that the light can come and reflect off. The light can come and reflect off. But if I do a thick coat, well, then I've got some platelets going like this and like that and over here and maybe like this and maybe like that and maybe some like this and another one like, my platelets are kind of all over the place. They are not nice and flat. And so, when you try to bounce light off of them, the ones that are angled, you don't get the same refraction and reflection you do as a thin coat. So with a mica acrylic paint, you always want to start thin. If you want to build your color up, you absolutely can. You do more coats. You do one, let it dry, add another, let it dry, and it dries. The dry time is very quick. You'll see, it's very quick. But you want to avoid doing that thick coat because the mica, you want it to lay, even though you're never going to see the particles that are in it. You're never going to be able to see them, feel them. They are there. And it's what makes the colors reflect and refract back to you. This is super important because it's those light waves that the mica is dependent upon to give you the color that your eye sees. Now, each one of these platelets has been coated, and depending on what they've been coated with and how many layers of coating, that determines the final color that you will see. So all of the mica started crystal clear, just like our prism. But then depending on what they've been coated with and how many layers of the coating, that will change how we see color. It really is amazing. So there's several different types of Lumiere, from the metallics to the pearlescence to highlight colors and celestial colors, and we will get into all of that. But I'm going to go back to this, is the acrylic paint similar to Amsterdam, where it is flexible. Yes, it is flexible. Does it chip? No, it doesn't chip. Does it crack? No, it doesn't crack. Will it flake? No, it won't flake. It will go on just about anything from paper to leather to fabric. So if you're doing it on fabric, you can either let it dry and then do a heat set, or really if you just let it dry 24 hours, 48 hours, it will not wash out of your clothes. It will go on glass, it will go on wood, just like, is that, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think we've got enough colors here. Just like in Amsterdam. And as I said, Amsterdam does come in a copper and a gold and a silver and a bronze, and they're beautiful. But Amsterdam does not come in the purples and the pinks and the greens and the blues. And Jacquard doesn't make standard colors of acrylic paints. They work in the specialty fields. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to swatch some of these. And I'm using an acrylic brush. I do not want to use my watercolor brush. That's not what I'm looking to do. If you do use a watercolor brush, either no matter what brush you use, you want to go ahead and rinse it out really well. If you let the acrylic, if you let the paint dry in here, you'll never be able to get it out of your brush. At the core, acrylic is a binder. It's an adhesive. That's what acrylic is. It's an adhesive. This could be used if you were in a tight pinch and you needed to glue something, you could absolutely use any acrylic paint to glue. Now, because these have mica in them, they have to be shaken. They really do. You've got to shake them up. They're not like a standard acrylic. Even in the large jars, look at this blue. Is this not absolutely gorgeous? Even in the large jars, you have to shake them to get that mica mixed in. And then when you seal them, you want to make sure that you have cleaned around the base and if there's any on the inside, because if there's paint around the base or on the inside rim and I close it up and it dries, what did I just say? It is like an adhesive. You are going to struggle to get it to open because you have now just glued it shut. And that is true for any acrylic paint, which is the Amsterdams tend to come in tubes, which makes it really convenient. Now, Jacquard does not sell these to anybody else in open stock. They have a couple little kits that carry these small sizes. We went ahead and Asher was kind enough to let us bring them in open stock in the small sizes. We do have an I Want It All bundle, but I love having the smaller sizes so you can see, you can try and play, but you absolutely need to give it a shake. So I'm going to go back just a little bit. I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. And so this color is 557. It's a halo violet and gold. So this is a two-tone color. And we'll get into two-tone colors a little bit later on this month. We'll look at the celestial colors. We'll look at the two-tone, at the highlights. It does not take much, and I'm working on white paper. So you do not want to add a lot of water. Every time you add a little bit of water, you dilute the paint down. And that's okay if you're looking to have a diluted paint, but every time you dilute it down, you also dilute down the pigment and the refractive and reflective properties of it. So this one was, I think that's 557, Halo Violet Gold. Pretty. Then we have Summer Gold, which is 554, and a nice shake and a drop. It doesn't take much. Less is more. And remember, I'm on white paper, and look at the coverage I'm getting on white paper. Pretty. Little drop will do you. If we get into painting bigger things, we'll want the bigger bottles. But I want you to see some of the colors. So now right away I can lift this. And can you see the purple and gold? Look at that duo color versus just your gold. Pretty striking. And being that it can go on paper or fabric or metal or glass or wood, it's up to you. That's the fine art element of it, the light fastness of it, the type of acrylic binder it is, and that we get to play with it in paper crafting as well as fine artists. And you would think that the little jars would be expensive. These little jars are under $3 each, even though they are a fine art product. Quite often fine art, look at this blue. Quite often fine art is at the same price or sometimes even a little bit less than what we find in our paper crafting world, and yet the quality, oh my gosh, the quality is substantially better because it's being sold to artists globally who demand that quality. They have to have that quality for their fine art, their paintings and their projects and whatever it is they're doing. There's a standard of quality that is required to be fine art. Gosh, that blue is amazing. And you can see a little goes a long way, and a thinner coat is better than a thicker coat because I want those the platelets to lay flat. And that way I get the most glimmer, the most glisten, that most refractive color coming back at me as opposed to a thick coat. That blue is something special. And that blue is 570 pearlescent blue. So they call the metallics, they're gold and silver and copper and bronze. They call their pearlescents their other colors, their straight colors, and then they have the halo and duo colors, like this one. The next one I'm doing is 556 Halo Blue Gold. So let's give it a shake and let's see what we get. So in the small bottles, I think there's 18 or 19 colors. They don't do every color in the small bottles. And we do have the large as well. But I thought we would show the small ones for those of you who want to play, want to try. But we offer the large as well, just in case you already know and you already love them. And of course, it's all on sale. So look at that color. Look at what we're doing. They're magical. Now, they're not like a Fine Tech. Fine Tech is watercolor. Fine Tech is beautiful. beautiful metallic pearlescent iridescent watercolor. These, when they're dry, they will not move. There's no spritzing them and adding water and making them reactive again. No, once they're done, they're done. Let's take the pearlescent magenta. And I'll be using these on Saturday as well, part of our Saturday with Stacy class. Oh, got a little blue in there, but that's okay. Do they blend? We're going to get into blends this month. We'll be blending with these colors. Yes, they blend. Oh, I got some pink in there. But I always want to start with less and build that color up. Okay. I'm trying to kind of keep them in order. I can dilute with water, but I want as much sheen as possible. My next color is 555, I think, Halo Pink Gold. So the halo colors are two colors mixed together. This is a halo pink gold. You can stamp with these. You can stencil with these. You can paint your die cuts with these. You can make backgrounds with these. So are you getting the pink coming through, the pink and the gold? And then we move into our olive green. So being that the binder is completely transparent, crystal clear, Asher was big on that. It is crystal clear because typically with a binder for acrylic paints, they usually have kind of a milky look to them when you put them down. And then as they dry, that milkiness kind of evaporates out. Well, the binder on these, the acrylic binder on these, starts crystal clear. So there's no milkiness to them at all when you put them down. And they do become more refractive and reflective as they dry. So where we couldn't necessarily, and that color is olive green, metallic olive green, 562, where we couldn't necessarily stencil, go in with our Fine Tech because it is such a watercolor. You absolutely can go in with these to stencil. You can go in with these and stamp. This one is a metallic color, so 564, and this is metallic copper. And micas come in two different forms, organic and inorganic. Now, inorganic is your inorganic is your rocks, your things of that nature, things that come that are mined from the earth. So, and then you have your organic, and then out of organic is your synthetic is derived from your organic. And again, synthetic in your fine art world is not considered bad. It's not like, ooh, I don't want anything synthetic. It actually is a more controlled way of sustaining the color and the properties, as opposed to having to either mine the product or use plants. So minerals or plants for organic and inorganic, and then synthetic. This one is our Halo Blue Green. I didn't do that. Did I do that one already? I did. Halo, no, that was, oh yeah, two. Halo Blue Gold. I've got it twice. We don't want that one. Move that one over there. Now come here and let's see what we've got here. Look at that. And you want to rinse your brush in between, unless you're trying to blend your colors. So a nice even flat coat. And this is my pearlescent turquoise. And then I have my metallic russet. All the numbers start to look the same. 586 maybe? So a true red is the most difficult metallic to achieve. Everybody would like to have a, as Asher says, a Ferrari red. Can you make a Ferrari red? But think about it. When you're looking through the spectrum and colors are bouncing off, red is a hard color to bounce off that spectrum. You get blues and purples and you get pinks and yellows, but red tends to be a color that is hard. So for a mica paint, a red mica, a true red mica, is virtually impossible to do. And then let's go with purple. This is pearlescent violet. And I'm going to build that color. And I'm doing it on white because they're going to look beautiful on black, but I wanted you to see how amazing the coverage is on white. That's harder to color, harder coverage to get the good coverage so that you don't see through. I'm dripping water. Completely different product than a watercolor. And then let's use a metallic gold. So the second one I used was a sunset gold. Now this is just a straight metallic gold. and you'll be able to see the difference between the three golds that I've got down here. Because this is a pink gold. So I've got the first one is a sunset gold. And then I've got that duo pink gold. And then I've got a standard gold. And then I will do this is the metallic bronze. So pearlescent is for a color. A color that is not your gold, silver, bronze, copper. Those are metallics. Pearlescence would be your pinks and your purples and your blues. And then you have got halos. Ooh. Or specialties. And I don't have all the specialties here. But this is a halo. The first one I used was that purple gold. I have all the halos in the full size. So this is our bronze, which looks like 560, 565 maybe? And it's because of that crystal clear binder of acrylic, that secret sauce, that really gives all of that reflection and refraction coming back to your eye, giving it that sheen and that glint and that glimmer. So then I'm going to use, I've got a pearlescent white. You know what? I'm going to do the pewter. I think I'm going to shake that one up better. I didn't do such a good job on that one. That's better. That's got more mica in it. So you need to mix them up so that the acrylic binder and the mica mix together. And again, the mica that we are using is the same mica that you find in Pearlex, which we love. High-end mica. And then I'll do the pearl white. Not that you'll be able to see much of it, but we'll do it anyway. It's just going to take my paper and add a beautiful pearlescence to it. So there are some of the colors that come in the little 1/2 ounce, which are not sold open stock anywhere else. Just us. Jacquard really wanted you to give the opportunity to play with them, to love them. But then I thought I would bring out maybe a couple colors. This is citrine. This is your full-size bottle. And that's what we're looking at. So more colors in the full-size bottles. I'll let that dry for just a second, and then I might add a second coat. And in the meantime, I'm going to grab this is old brass, 548. Now I can read the numbers on these. These are big. Nice shake. And because they are fine art, the color is going to be true every time you buy it. They are formulated and manufactured right here in California. They have their labs here in California. Their bottling, their shipping, everything is here in California. Oh, that's a dreamy color. And a little goes a long way. You can always add more. But for the most refractiveness and reflectiveness, you want to start with thin coats. And sometimes one coat is all you need. Quite frequently, one coat is all you need. But if you want to build that color, you absolutely can. And these are already dry. They take very little time to dry. So then I want to make sure that I don't have any around the outside, and I can put my cap back on. I don't want to have any around the outside, and I can put my cap back on. That way I don't glue my cap down. And even the pearlescent white you can see, that pewter. And now you can really see what it is we're going to be playing with this month. So high reflection, high refraction of color. Letting the mica do its thing by putting down a thin coat so that you can have your light hitting it and then bouncing back. Those light waves are important when you're talking about a reflective color. And they're all fine art quality from the start, from the get-go. So I'm using, for my acrylic brushes, we brought in the Art Creations, the Royal Talons filament brushes, just so I don't use my my Fusion watercolor brushes. I just need to get them clean. But how stunning is that? And these are just some of the colors. So like I said, I think it's 17, 18, 19 colors in the small, but more colors in the large. But this is a great way to start to play. Where for, gosh, are they $2.50? I think we've got them maybe around $2.50. You're buying a fine art product, completely affordable, and you saw how little I use. Yet look at the coverage. As it dries, it just starts to shine. Completely flexible, doesn't chip, feels flat, and is an amazing acrylic. So I wanted to start you off. Clean up my mess. I wanted to start you off. Oh, that green is, I just have to. I'm gonna just do it. I'm not supposed to. This is supposed to be later, but I cannot help myself. Yeah. Okay, wow. Holy smokes. I'll hold it up in just a minute. I have too much water in my brush. Oh, wow. Okay, and then let's do, just want to do a few colors because they're so beautiful on the black, but we'll be playing with black later on. Clean my brush, and then maybe, and then let's do one last. Just so if you had questions on black before I get to it in the next week or so. Let that dry for just a minute. And then let's put on another run. All right, you guys, something to look forward to. And they're all available now. And we're the only ones that have the small bottles open stock. We did an I Want It All bundle for you. We did. But Jacquard really wanted to get these out there and show you just how phenomenal they are. You love their Pearlex. You love their Pearlex. I love their Pearlex. Now you're going to love their Lumiere paint. It is something special, and it works on just about everything. And it's affordable, even though it is fine art. The quality standard is way up here compared to what we're used to in our paper crafting industry, which is fine, it's lovely. But once you play with fine art product, it's really hard to go back because you can see the difference. So, all of February is all about Lumiere paints. We're gonna learn them, we're gonna explore them, we're gonna play with them, we're gonna experiment with them, and we are going to really embrace the fine art aspect of Jacquard. So I will see you, the next time I see you, well, this class is every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Sunday, California time, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. But the next time I see you will be tomorrow. Tomorrow I have our next New For You event. And that's where we bring you the latest, the greatest from some of your most favorite manufacturers. And I've got the Crafters Workshop for you. And again, something very, very special from them as well. So we'll be making something with the Crafters Workshop, their stencils, their stencil butter. Oh, wait till you see what we've got for you. You're gonna love it. And that is right back here on the Scrapbooking Made Simple YouTube channel, 5 p.m. Sunday, California time, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. So it's me, Stacy, brand ambassador for Royal Talons and licensed designer for Jacquard, owner of Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. If you're local, you can come in and shop our retail store. If you are not local, you can shop online. And I do hope you join me for February. If you like the metallic and the sparkle without sparkle, and you want that beautiful quality that you know will be consistent every time you use it, and you have to use less because it's better quality to start with, well, you are gonna love February. Jacquard Lumiere paints. Started around the 1990s, the Lumieres came from their work with fabric paints and silk paints, and really has colors you cannot find anywhere else. So until tomorrow, everybody, it's me, Stacy. Thanks for hanging, and I will see you later. Bye.